Welcome back to another episode of the BambooSZN podcast, the podcast where me and my guests will share stories of transformation and growth. True resilient stories that keep you inspired and motivated and let you know you can rewrite your story and change your life for the better. It is Women's History Month. As you've been following, I know you have been, my subscribers and followers. Great, amazing women all month long who are making history in their respective fields and uplifting the community. My guest today is for sure doing that. She has built a great community here in Las Vegas. She is the founder of The Good Place, Las Vegas. I bring you Ashley Ansuini. I need to start getting crowd noises. There you go. So how you feeling?
Feeling good.
Are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous.
I love it.
Yeah, I can tell.
That's Believe it or not, I am nervous every time I do a group workout.
Really?
Yeah, either Orange Theory or for myself.
Yeah.
It happens. But I heard a TED Talk one time and she said how to make stress your friend. She basically said how your body doesn't know if you're in flight or flight. So it doesn't know if you're stressed out or if you're running from fear or anything. And when those chemicals get released and your bodies make you feel that way, is to just change your mindset on things. So instead of feeling stressed, think of it as your body preparing you for what's about to come. So when I do get nervous, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to conquer this group workout.
Yeah.
And so you are the founder of The Good Place Pilates here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
2 locations.
2.
Now, before we hop into all that, how that happened and everything, who is Ashley? Like, where are you from? What are you doing? Who do you help?
Ooh, good question. So my name is Ashley and I'm actually from Utah. So
Okay, what city?
I was born in a small city, Ogden area.
Okay, I heard
But
of
then
it.
I kind of went to like school, grade school, high school in Payson, which is even smaller.
Okay.
Just like kind of north of Provo.
Wow.
South of Provo. So little towns, very Utah. Then I lived in Salt Lake for about 6 or 7 years before I came here. So half my life there, half my life here.
And how was your childhood like?
It was interesting. I think everything about my childhood is what led me to this place.
Wow.
I was born to teenage parents.
Okay.
Who had nothing. They had like family support, but they didn't have financial support. So I just saw the hustle from I never saw anything different.
Yeah.
My parents both my mom would work days, graves at night. My dad would work days, go to school at night. He graduated from college when I was 16 years old. So I saw that every day. I mean, I didn't see it so much as they kind of hid how hard it was. But, now that when you're an adult and you look back at it, you're like, wow, they were, I mean, on my hard days, sometimes I'll be like, well, my parents were doing this with kids. I do not have children.
That's what I think about every time when my life gets, or I feel like things are challenging or anything. I'm like, it hit me when I hit 30 years old. When I hit 30 years old, I reflected back to where my mom was at 30 years old. We're 20 years apart. So when she was 30, I was about 10 years old, 11. And at that point, we were homeless, living in out of motels, and she had 2 kids. Somehow, some way, she always found a way to make things happen, to make sure we ate, make sure we were okay. So when I feel those moments, similar to what you said, I just think back like, dude, if she can do it with kids and homeless, I'm single. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of knowledge out there. I can continue to make it happen.
Right. Yeah. So it was, I mean, you could say like those things were hard, but at the same time, like when you're older and you're away from it, you're grateful. And it's very inspiring. So yeah, I saw my parents like hustling and working hard. So I feel like I never knew anything different. My first job was when I was sweeping the floors of the dance studio when I was 13 years old to pay for my costumes,
Okay.
Like my parents didn't have money to buy my sparkly, dance is so expensive. So yeah, I've always had that kind of hustle, if you will, mentality. And if I want it, how do I figure out how to make it happen?
Ooh.
So Utah, I lived there. I was a college dropout.
Where'd you go?
I went to a University of Utah.
Okay.
When I was 17. I wanted to get out of my small town, so I hustled, graduated 1 year early. So I was 17. thought I knew everything, thought I was ready. I was not. So I was on my own. I don't even think I made it to, I want to say I maybe made it to winter break. It was pretty devastating.
Yeah.
But you know, I got out of my small town. So that's what I wanted. I went to beauty school instead. I pivoted, worked in the beauty industry for quite a while, about 7 years. I worked for a really awesome salon and small business owners. So again, I think these things kind of lead you on your path, you know. So I was working for this small couple that she's actually a housewife now, which is kind of awesome. But they were doing the same thing. They were hustling, running this small business. They had multiple locations. So I think like seeing that like in the background of my mind always made me want to be an entrepreneur of sorts. But I had no idea where I was going. I just wanted to, you know, I was living my life. I was in my 20s, doing hair. And then Salt Lake is small. And if you're not really ingrained in that culture, I'm not a huge outdoorsy person. I'm not LDS or Mormon. So it felt small to me and I wanted to leave. So found myself here, followed some friends. Like it's like the next easiest place to go. It's like, you know, the border state. Found myself here and completely starting over, which was, I don't know, it was good and bad. It was hard, but still kind of lost. I went back to school and got my degree. So I graduated from college at 30 and found myself in a beautiful job, a beautiful career consulting, again, with small businesses, health and wellness space. I was working with my best friends. And it was awesome, except for I just didn't feel fulfilled. It's like such a weird thing to have like like every time you would tell someone what you do, that is the coolest job.
Yeah.
Coolest job. Like traveling, working with Sephora, with Nordstrom's, working with fighters at the UFC and celebrities launching fragrances and makeup. Coolest job.
Yeah. Met some cool people, I'm sure.
Yeah, cool people. But I think I mentioned this when I like put pen to paper. What I think I was feeling was jealousy of these brands, of these small businesses, watching them fail, watching them grow. Like it was fun to help them, but like I wanted that. And so I didn't know how. I did not want to launch a product. That is one thing I learned in that business is product, like direct to consumer products. Those are hard and they trend and they rise, they fall. I didn't want that, but I didn't know if I wanted to go back to doing the beauty world, like doing hair. And then COVID happened and I was really close to like maybe doing hair, like a salon, you know, like let's just do it. But COVID really like shut the door for that. I'm like, okay, good thing that didn't work out. And then I just found myself thinking okay, what is your joy? What makes you happy? If you're going to start a business, because it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Like what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Because you're going to have to do it for a while. And obviously like getting healthy, staying healthy. I missed the dance world. I missed being active. Like sitting at a desk all the time is never fun.
Yeah.
And so I thought a lot about that. And then I just so happened to have a little bit of an injury in my shoulder, and a friend or a colleague at a dinner was like, oh, you should try reformer Pilates. And I was like, never tried that. Like I've tried mat Pilates. I've tried everything, yoga, spin, everything, but I've never tried that. Kind of had like a stereotype in my mind of what it was, but I
think everybody does.
Yeah. And this was in 2021. So or maybe even 2020, just after COVID, or like as we were kind of like starting to be around people again.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, you know, the world's upside down. Let's try something. And so I went, I did not care for the place that I went or like anything about that part of it, but the machine itself and the movement, I loved it. Like instant.
Was it the place or the instructor?
I don't even really remember. I don't remember anything about the instructor. I don't remember. So I went to one, loved it. Then, so of course, like my business brain immediately was on, and I booked at like 5 studios. So I can't even really remember what order or like who they were. Really, it was just more of like, okay, let me just make sure this wasn't like a fluke. Like, did I just, you know, was I just in this like, you know, fever dream of like, that was awesome. You know, sometimes the endorphins and all of that.
Yeah.
So I tried a few places and I I came home, I told my husband, I'm like, this not only is amazing, I'm injured and I could do it. I felt awesome when I left. There's not a lot of people doing it, and there's not a lot of people doing it in a group setting. A lot of more private is the most popular at this moment in time. And the few places that I went to were doing it okay, but not great. And they have wait lists. So there's demand, So I found a teacher training that happened to be starting like in 2 weeks. I like emailed the owner and I was like, hey, like I don't have any experience, but do you think I can do the training? And she was like, sure, whatever. And so I did. I signed up for teacher training. I did it while I was working my consulting job. So nights and weekends. Took me a year to get that 450-hour certification.
Damn.
And the whole time I was doing that, I was researching. I came up with a name. I finished my tests and signed a lease in like 2 months. And then like 3 months from there, I quit my job and took the keys, and here we are. So it happened fast, but it didn't at the same time, because it was just like all of my, I was just looking for the thing. I was ready.
What's beautiful about it is it's just wild that the amount of action you were about.
Action is a good word. Yeah.
Like it seemed like you just kept going towards, once you start to class. I'm talking about took class. Okay, let me take some more classes. Let me see what's going on. Oh, I kind of want to open this business. Let me start. I'm not saying it's what you did, but you might have took class and kind of seen what was missing or what you want your student to have that this one doesn't, or make it different. And then boom, action. Let me do the class in 2 weeks. As soon as you finish the class, the lease, now up and running.
Yeah.
And I got lost for a second. What was your husband's reaction to when you decided you wanted to actually go through with it? Because sometimes people have an idea, I think I want to open this one, but then when you actually came to him, like, hey,
this is
with the information, like this is what's going to go down.
He was ready for it, because I'd had the this is it a few times.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had a business model plan, all the things ready for essentially kind of like almost similar to Dry Bar, like a blowout bar, not a full salon. That was kind of what I felt like called to do because of my background.
Yeah.
And so I was dragging my feet on that for quite a while. And many years before that, I really wanted to open like a Soul Cycle type place. So like I've been like, you should see how many domains I own. Like it's been about 10 years of me saying I want to do something, but just getting scared or stepping back. And sometimes it was the right move. Like the timing wasn't right. I think the beauty concept, like COVID would have destroyed it. So if we would have been so young, so I think if that had happened, it would have been disastrous. So like sometimes you look at those things and those pivots as like, well, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
But I basically transferred, that business plan. It was ready to the Reformer Pilates. And the good thing about that was that it's pretty simple. It's however many reformers, it's not like a mat studio or like a big gym where it's like so many people can come through the doors, or, a lot of people can. This is very limited and it's very time-based. So it's a lot of math, but you can kind of just look at it and be like, okay, well, the potential is this, and that's all there is based on the square footage. So we were able to just kind of transfer it, and he saw it and he was like, well, if you're willing to put your all into it, which we'd been together for a while, so I think he understood that I would. He's like, just go for it. And he was, it's nice to have that kind of support, because it does seem kind of crazy when you like look at it like,
oh yeah,
from
definitely
a lens.
100%. Not even gonna look front. Yeah, it is, but it's great. And I've met him, and it's great that he was all for it. Because I think when you dive into the unknown waters of things and you gotta do it alone, it's tough.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have those days and times where you're like, that self-doubt comes in, you second guess yourself.
Yeah.
Is this the right decision? Overthink. But then you got that person
day.
with you who's like, all right, well, if I'm overthinking, so are you with me.
Yeah.
And one thing that happens as I work for myself also for a few years now is when I first started, one of the main things I had to get through was the imposter syndrome.
1,000%.
So I want to hear your take on, when did that hit you and how did you go through it? And if you're still dealing with it at times.
Every day, every single day. But I felt, I think that So it's funny because I feel it, and in Pilates, it's 100% you're going to feel it because of what we talked about, or like briefly touched on, the stereotype of Pilates. So the industry itself, I think that I would feel like that no matter what, but because of that, at the same time, is the reason why I created the good place. So, you know, the stereotype, and the reason why, when that girl said, "Oh, you should try reformer Pilates," and I was like, like, because you'd either only ever seen it as like rehab in like a private setting, or you'd seen it as like, my main representation really was like seeing that room at Lifetime, because I was at Lifetime for a little while as a member. And it was like extra money, extra this, extra that. They were in their perfect little fits. And for the most part, they were older, like much older than me. I'm not young, and so I don't know if I mean, I can say whatever I want, but like really what I'm like, that's for like rich old white ladies. Like,
that's where I was going with it. Same with almost like, not yoga exactly, but kind of
and
like even
yoga.
As I work there now again, but Orange Theory, like when I first worked there, I never knew what it was. And this is 2018. To me, back then, the price for unlimited, I used to be like, that's how much it is? I used to think like, oh my God. So I always assumed that the people there were all, now looking back, oh, $159 a month is a steal for unlimited. Yeah. But no, you're not wrong. I think that's what most people see it with.
Well, yeah. I mean, because it was a price on top of a price that was already expensive, and it just felt exclusive. And you'd seen it a little bit on TV, but it hadn't had its boom that it's having right now, which is crazy because it hasn't been that long. But yeah, so through my mind, like that flash of, you know, it's not for me. But the first place that I did go to, I will say this, it was like a very mixed group. It was a small studio. And the teacher was really, really cool. She actually ended up becoming the owner at later in time, and I think has since moved on. Then I went and tried a couple other like traditional Pilates places, and that's where I really kind of started to feel the like imposter syndrome, if you will, or like, I don't fit in here, which is interesting for me to say that, because I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm an extreme in any way. Like I'm not super thin. I'm not super overweight. I'm not super this or super that. I'm just kind of average. No, but I feel like if I felt
average, you change the words.
Thank you.
Change the words.
I guess what I mean by that is like body type and like athleticism. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of ways you could go with that, but I felt like if I feel kind of like an other here, well, I can't even imagine what somebody who might see themselves even in a different lens than me. Does that make sense?
100%.
So if you aren't like tall, thin, beautiful ballet dancer, then you might not feel welcome here. And so, but it's such an awesome workout. It's so great. And what I love about like the whole spin, like, cause I was really into spin, especially before it kind of had its moment, but anyone could sit on that bike. Anyone could ride those bikes and have so much fun. The lights got dim.
Yeah.
You worked out together. You could pedal faster than your neighbor. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. So I wanted to kind of like, can we do this with group reformer? Which I thought, well, we can, let's try. So, and I tried a little bit in my teacher training. It's kind of hard when you're in somebody else's space.
Yeah.
But even just by elevating the music, I think like makes a huge difference. And so, but that was the thing. So yeah, I felt like an imposter in that world. And the whole time doing teacher training, I couldn't do all the moves. I was coming out of a shoulder injury. I weighed probably 20 pounds more than I lost weight doing that training. We were doing so much Pilates, which was awesome. But I definitely felt like an imposter the whole time. And then even like as we were going through training, and some of those people I did training with are my teachers to this day.
That's amazing.
Which is awesome. Like we kind of had this beautiful journey, but they knew from day one that like she might teach Pilates, she might do Pilates, whatever, but they knew I would be a business owner. On first day I said, this is why I'm here. But I ended up loving teaching it. Like, I feel like I wish I had more time to teach more because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not fit in with like that industry or that world. I'd been sitting at a desk for, almost 10 years doing what I was doing. And so definitely felt like an imposter, but I didn't, I don't care.
Was there anything you turned to or did to help you? Because I know it still comes up now, but anything you've done over the years when it's come up to remind yourself or to help you get through that space?
I think what I do is tell myself, like, you're showing other people that they can too. So if the people who are the haters or the doubters see you and think she doesn't do Pilates or she can't teach Pilates or whatever they want to think, if they do at all, they probably don't. It's probably 100% in my head. But
Probably.
think of all those other people that see me and they're like, well, maybe I could do that. And that's worth like whatever negative doubt that like I have even showing up here today, like, you know.
You felt imposter syndrome coming here?
Well, not necessarily that, but just like being nervous to show up in this space sometimes.
First time, yeah?
I did one, but it was like through Zoom.
Oh yeah, this is different.
Yeah,
this is live and direct, baby.
Yeah, I think it's actually easier to just talk to you.
You're gonna look amazing on camera. Don't worry. I think it's great with that mindset you had to get through imposter syndrome. Because when I know for myself, when I dealt with it, I removed myself out of it. A lot of the not for everybody, but to me, imposter syndrome was me so worried about how I looked around the other people in the same industry. And instead, I was like, you know what? It's not even about me. I'm a fitness coach to help other people. So let me shift my focus on get on my own head. It ain't always about me. How much value can I add to potential and future clients? And just focus on that.
Yeah.
If they keep returning and I keep making them feel good, that's all that matters. That's what I'm here for anyway. I'm not here to look like this trainer, look like this one. And it was real hard for me because I went from a small gym with 5 trainers to where I'm at now with over 30 trainers. And I was still only a few months in. I'm looking around. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And you see certain trainers more busy, some not as busy. And then you just get in your own head. But then I made that switch. Like, you know what? I'm going to stick to my tribe, get them feeling good and keep coming back. And before you know it, now I feel more confident than ever. And I always will say, it might sound crazy, but I always say I'm the best fitness coach there is. And the reason I say that is just the confidence in myself to always want to be better. Now, to you, to whoever else, maybe their fitness coach is the best, as they should feel.
Yeah.
Because I told a friend of mine, she's an attorney, and I told her, I was like, you need to call yourself the best attorney there is. She's like, no, some other attorneys might not think so. I'm like, so what? If somebody's willing to say you're not the best, are they willing to call themselves the best? And sometimes people won't. They might think, oh, you're not the best Pilates instructor. Or are you? No. Well, then be quiet.
Yeah.
Let me have my own self-confidence and belief and be delusional. Because you got to be delusional to do great things.
You do.
I'm not calling you delusional, but as you can see.
A little.
a little more than little. Let's ask her husband. Let's see. Now, as you started The Good Place, you got through imposter syndrome. You still deal with it, but you still got things done. You opened your first location. Mm-hmm. How long was it from the first location until you opened the second?
It was 2 years to the day. Like we opened our doors of Studio 2 on the exact same day 2 years later. And that's delusional, 100%.
Yeah,
we were not ready. We opened Studio 1. When I say, I told you I had this plan and I worked for it, I did it very scrappy. It was very like, I found a space that didn't need anything done. We just moved in, put in 5 reformers, 5 were on the way. We opened with 5 because I was like, why wait? Like, let's just see what happens. Like, we don't even know who's going to come.
This is so good.
It's good. It's delusional, but I think like sometimes you have to. If you wait, it's one of those quotes, and there's a million ways to phrase it. But like, if you wait until perfect, you'll never start. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never start. You have to just go. I mean, I'd already waited 10, 15 years of me like wanting to do something, So I'm like, we're doing this. Like, open the doors, put the reformers down. I already have some great, friends who are gonna, they're not like rock star, like the best teachers in the city. No, they are now. But you
saw their potential. You believed in them.
Yeah, we were all new. We all had something to prove. So like, why not? So it worked very scrappy, very bare bones, if you will. And obviously we added things. I mean, we didn't even have a front desk. We didn't even have front desk staff until a year in. I did everything.
Woo!
I still feel like, I still do almost everything, but I have a lot of help now. But so we were still in that scrappy, front desk phase when Uncommons came knocking. And it was really lucky. I had friends, some really good friends, shout out Amelie and Heather, who were working for Uncommons in other capacities that threw my name into the ring, if you will. They were looking for a fitness concept, but I don't think they wanted to go with like a big chain, which is really cool. That's a cool thing about Uncommons. They're really like trying to like find businesses and brands that are unique. Obviously, hence the name Uncommons. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So
Okay. Shout out to Uncommons.
They asked me first, like, here's what the rent looks like.
Yeah.
Would this be possible? And luckily my husband is in finance, ran all the numbers, and we're like, yeah, we think we could do this. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but it's possible. So then the developers came out and met with me. They like walked Henderson, and the lead developer slash owner, I'm not exactly sure what his title is. He lives in San Diego, but he couldn't be kinder and like more like he saw this little scrappy place could be something that belongs in this beautiful campus, next to Morgan Stanley and the Dry Bar and the Blue Bottle Coffee. And so I was delusional, and he had, he could see it. And so we, it took a long time. It was about, we worked on that lease and like all of the details for quite some time. I would say like 6-7 months. So that kind of was nice because that bought us more time to be established in Henderson. And so by the time we signed the lease and made the announcement, we were in, like, we had got through year 1 in Henderson. And then we had the build out. So it bought us a little bit more time. And yeah, it was exactly to the day, year 2 that we opened our doors.
That's a lot of growth quickly.
It is.
Most people, I don't even know stats. I'm stop making shit up. I would just like to think, in my opinion, if you open one location, it takes time to, get, like you said, get established, get things running, gain that popularity towards like, hey, we need another location.
Yeah.
But
I knew if we said no, it would pass us by. And I don't know I think I was training with you when we were in construction.
It was last year around August.
I
think Cummins was, it might have, no?
I don't think, because I think
What's
that's
the day
why
you
I had
opened?
time in October.
Oh, yes, it was right before.
Yeah. So I think I had mentioned to you, like, I really don't know what I'm doing, but like if we would have said no,
I love that.
If we would have said no, someone else would have taken that space, and I would have had so much regret, even though it was like so scary.
As you're saying this, or even other times, do you sit back and realize and think how just great you are? Like really, because I've known you for about 2 years now, and I've known a little bit of the story, but just hearing you give it a timeline of events and just the words you're using of why you chose to do it and the action, like it's so, I'm like, dude, I might go open my own Pilates studio. I might, you're giving that feeling because a lot of people, when they want to go to business for themselves, it sounds good. Mm-hmm. It sounds good. I work for myself, make my own time, my own, whatever. Okay. You got to take care of your own finances. You got to take care of your scheduling if you have employees or, your clients.
You're the
like
maintenance
myself.
crew, you're the cleaning
crew. Everything.
The therapist.
And there's not, when people ask me, when's your off day? I'm like, not really no off day, because even when I have free time, there's something I got to be doing towards my business, whether it's checking on clients, writing programs, whatever kind of thing. But you, with the words you were just using, is so crazy. I love it because I can relate to it. Like, it's just action. Like you have the delusion in your head and you ran with it.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, like you said, if you didn't run with it, that could have been whatever kind of studio there or whatever, and a missed opportunity. And I love what you said about you and your husband when he said, whenever finances, like, okay, it's a lot, but we can make it work. We can figure it out. I think with a lot of things that we deal with in life, we see that number or we see that task, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it freezes you.
It freezes you instead of thinking, okay, that's how much it costs or that's what I got to do. How can I put the plan together to make sure that happens?
Yeah. And it's not even just like financials or like, can we make this happen? I think it's what I saw as well as like, okay, well, we were just about to like head into that space where like Henderson is like, it's good. It's running. Maybe I can take a paycheck now and maybe I can take a vacation now to like delaying that another plus how much time. And what are you willing to, sacrifice, I guess is maybe the words that come to mind. So like, yes, it's financial. Yes, it's, time, but all of that put in together, it's just like, are you willing to like delay whatever other thing you thought? Which for me, yes, it's really hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And I've had some of the hardest days I've ever had, but it's also the best. It's like the best. I mean, the hard days are hard, but going into the studio or even just hearing like a client, like telling another client like their experience or like reading some of the reviews or, you know, anything, it's just like, wow, like that's so amazing. And to that end, we're not just about here to make money, to be a business. We're here to change lives. And that's part of why that was the vision I saw. Like, if I feel uncomfortable here, but I can see that this is helping my shoulder and that I'm going to get my mobility back and X, Y, and Z, what if we could get everyone to try this and see that working out can be fun? Working out can be like inclusive and it's something that everyone can experience versus like just the ballet dancers or just the influencers or just, I mean, we want them too. We want everybody. That it's just, I think there's just so much stigma around certain types of fitness, even, and I think in your world as well, like some people are so afraid to step into a big gym that they're afraid that they don't have the muscles for, or that they don't have the knowledge for. It's a disservice to humanity because we are not aging well as a society and we are not doing a very good job at seeing that like we need to come first. Like our muscles need to move, like, and if they don't, we are going to die. And so it's just finding a way to get more people. I mean, you probably say this all the time, but the workout that is going to work for you is the one that you're going to do. So it's got to be, at least for me, it's got to be fun. It's got to have good music. My friends got to be there, or like potential friends.
Yeah.
Like otherwise I'm not going to go. And then I'm going to, delay my well-being, So that was, that's part of the why as well.
That's amazing. And I agree that you do got to find the right type of fitness or whatever works best for you at the time. Like it doesn't have to always be getting a trainer. It doesn't have to always be a group fitness class. It doesn't always have to be Pilates or yoga. It can be all of them or just one of them to meet you where you're at currently. And I don't think there's no right or wrong way. And back to your point of, we're not aging well as a society. And I tell my clients all the time, when I have them do certain movements or anything, they think it's for that moment in that time. And I'm like, no, when you get older and you have a slip and fall, you want to be able to have the cognitive ability and physical ability to catch yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you do fall, able to get back up.
Right.
At my gym, there's another trainer who has an older client. Her name is Jean. Amazing, beautiful lady. I think she's like in her 70s. I love talking to her because I always like to get her info because she's 7 years old. She's seen some stuff. And she was telling me she's been with her trainer for 3 years. And she started going to me because she had a slip and fall and she couldn't get up. And then now I watch her. She comes in early, does her warm up, can get up and down by herself and everything. And then when I do talk to her, I shed that light to my clients too. I'm like, look, Jean is doing it. Think about the long term, the long game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to look good now. You want it summer, all these things. But it's like, especially if you have kids and you start a business, life gets busy. It's going to happen. So if you don't take care of it now, it's going to hit you at the wrong time and you're really not going to be prepared.
Yeah.
Like I think working out, whatever it is for you, is great for the looks, but more so about just the strength as a body to be able to keep moving through life. You don't want to have a cane at 50, 60, 70.
No.
You want to be able to walk, move. If you have grandkids, be able to go to their games and not feel out of breath. That's my fitness tangent, but go ahead.
I have the same tangent. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I think we have just gotten to this place where we're just like, oh, well, I'm old. Like I have an old back. I have an old this. And it's like, yes, there are things, injuries, biological things that were passed down to you. But overall, like if you do a little bit of work, it can get better. And if you do a lot of work, you can maybe even reverse some things. And I don't know. I can't think of a worse way to age than to, be that, the cane, the walker, and if it happens, it happens. But at the same time, why not try to do everything you can to prevent it?
One thing I like to tell people also when they're thinking about fitness, whatever it is it doesn't need to be what it sucks about social media sometimes. It doesn't even be like, oh, I got to do 4-day split or I got to do.
Yeah.
I tell people
No formula.
1 day a week is life-changing if you're doing nothing. That's one more day than what you were doing. I hear people all the time when they think about training and for whatever reason, I can only do one day. Okay, let's do 1 day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not going to do anything. Think about this. It's an analogy I made up. Think about a beautiful mansion house, right? It has nails, lumber, all this thing. Do you think those carpenters or builders think, oh, this one nail is not going to make a difference? That one nail is needed.
Yeah.
So then the next week you put another nail. And now you got 3 nails. Now you got more lumber. Now you got a big ass mansion that you want to live in. But people don't see it that way. They want a all or nothing mindset, which doesn't even work because if you go from nothing to 4 or 5 days a week, oh, your body's going to give up on you.
Yeah.
It's not used to that kind of shit.
Injured. Then you'll get injured and then you'll give up again.
And then you go to Pilates to recover at the good place.
Maybe.
So it's a cycle.
Yeah.
It comes full circle. Was there any point either at the beginning of Studio 1 or Studio 2 where you thought, I can't do this?
No. No, there was probably a few moments where I thought, how can I do this? Or, you know, more than anything, sometimes I just like want 1 day where I can turn it off.
Yeah.
Cause I can't, I haven't let go of control of that yet. I've barely even taken a couple of days off total, but there have been really hard days where I've wanted to scream, you know, or whatever, but they've never made me want to quit. If anything, they've made me want to succeed even harder. Cause like, I'm just
you're different. You're different. You need to write a book. You need to be a speaker.
I don't know. We'll see how
this
it goes.
Is good. I didn't know this too much about you like this. The mindset of it, it's beautiful. And I'm glad. I hope your clients and also your teachers see this and hear this and understand. I'm sure they're around you more often, so they probably know more about you, but still like who they're working for. And that's another thing I want to touch on. What's great about what you do at your place. I'm not a huge Pilates person. I've only been to 1 class. I do
that.
Yeah, I know. And let me stay on point first. And the one thing I do love is that you have built a culture that is great to be around, right? And I don't want to assume, but I would like to think a lot of the clients you have that come repeatedly and the people who work for you, that's why they like coming to you, to your studios, is the culture you built. It literally feels like the good place.
Yeah.
The Henderson location and even the Uncommon, just the vibe there. Mama Sue at the front desk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All the teachers are very nice and welcoming and they're sweet people. They're not catty.
Yeah.
You know, because I know sometimes it could be that way.
Yeah. Kindness is like the core value.
And I think that means more than anything when you have a great culture. That studio could be in the hardest part of town, but people would go because of the culture of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've been to businesses where the product is probably phenomenal, great, but the culture there is like, I'd rather go spend my money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel welcomed or I don't feel good when I come here.
Yeah. Well, and fitness is like you are vulnerable the second you walk in that door. It's the same thing with what you do. People are putting their bodies in front of you. It's like going to the doctor's office or
the life's in your hands,
or doing this. Like their body is in front of you, and whether you're judging them or not, they think that you are. And if it's their first time, you know, they're scared. Like, can I do this? Am I going to fall on my face? Is it going to hurt me? You know, there's a lot of feelings happening for people coming in, and Pilates tends to be something that people do for the first time or coming back after having a baby or an injury for whatever reason in their mind. They think this is like a great entry. It is. But so we do see a lot of that vulnerability, and that is where like it's a non-negotiable with me and my staff. Like, we are going to hold their hand. We are going to walk them in, show them the machine, introduce them to the instructor, let them know that this is their class, take their time, take it at their own pace. Don't chase your neighbor. Just do what feels good for you today. And next time we'll try a little more. Or, you know, who knows, maybe they'll like advance right out of that and they're like a rock star from day one. Like, we see some people who are like, I've heard it's hard. And they come in and they're like, this was like the perfect modality for them. They just crushed it. Like, who knew they had so much balance or what, you know, maybe they were skiers or something where they're like, oh, actually I'm really good at moving, you know, on an elevated plane or whatever. So we see that, but it's a non-negotiable for me. And that's been from day one. And that's been like the hardest thing to like train in staff because it's easy to get lazy there.
Yeah.
It's easy to like, oh, well, we know them. They know me. I can just sit down and like scroll through my phone or whatever. I'm like, no, you stand up and you, hey, Doran, so good to see you. How's your puppy? Like, how was your mom? Like, I know you were heading out to go see her last week. And like, did you have a good visit? Like, it's important to see the guests no matter what, because they might have had the worst day of their lives and it was all they could do to get here today, even though they come a lot. Every day is hard sometimes to get to something that some people could just brush off because it's like, I don't have time or something is more important. And they're choosing 50 minutes to come work on themselves. And so you need to see that.
Yeah.
And acknowledge that. And that's what we do.
Something you said about you want your studio to be about is when people come in, you get up, approach them, ask how their day is. I just listened to a podcast and I heard the story. It was like the old CEO of Home Depot or something, talking about his standard of customer service. And he told a story about this woman in Atlanta who her customer service story was a gentleman came in with all this lumber. And she decides to ask him, oh, hey, what are you building? Like, what's going on? He said, my grandson passed away and I want to build his casket myself. And the lady was like, just stuck. And she was like, you know what? Don't you think about pulling out your wallet? This is on Home Depot. We got you. And the point he was making was she didn't wait and think to, let me check what's.
Yeah, let me ask my manager.
It was like, the point was it's a human. She was a human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like.
Figure it out later.
You're treating somebody like a human as opposed to a transaction.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and I think that is what in any business you're in, especially fitness, when people I want to say any business because people work hard for their money.
Yeah.
Some housewives, like you said earlier, but whatever. People work hard for the money and they're deciding to give you the money to give them a service. And when you make them feel like a human, as opposed to just another tack on the, just another thing in my bank account, that doesn't make it always feel good. Because I'm sure you might have been in places where you felt that way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important for people out there to realize you're making these transactions, make them feel like a human. That's somebody's mom, daughter, husband, boyfriends. Make them feel human. But sorry. That was, it was just a powerful story I heard and you triggered me to think about it.
Yeah, I 100%. And even the housewives, the moms, I tell this to my staff a lot. Like they, like sometimes people are coming here, to like get fit or to, look good, of course. But there are some people who are coming here because like, this is like, I mean, there's the, the stay-at-home moms or the people who are working from home. Some of these people don't have any interaction like all day long. And this is their happy hour. This is their social hour. And, sometimes it's like, hey, we need to get to the workout. But like, they're like telling you a story. Like, listen, like maybe they really need this.
I'm glad you said that because sometimes I have to remember that because I'm very...
Yeah, we need to get to the workout. Yeah.
Focused.
Yeah. And we do.
We can talk.
We do.
I'm very, sometimes I got to catch myself and relax because I train mostly women, all women pretty much at this point. And some of them do have stressful jobs, stressful life. They run businesses, nurses, entrepreneurs, multiple kids. And I've gotten better at just chilling. We'll work out. We'll get what we got in today, but I'll notice days where one of them needs to just get it out.
More. Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is.
Or sometimes less. Sometimes I don't want to talk at all.
Yeah.
And you have to acknowledge that too.
Oh, and it's hard when you're dealing with
that one's hard too when they come in with like that RBF and you're like, are you okay? And they're like, I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure you're good.
I'm nosy too, so I'll try to answer and figure it out. But that's what is needed. You have to, like I said, be a human.
Yeah.
Everybody has their days.
There's a lot of reasons why people show up at your door, and it's not always for the one that they're paying you for. Mm-hmm. It's not always for the workout.
I also like that you said how some of the stay-at-home wives, people who work at home, that's their only interaction.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had a client, and I was doing my group workout on the weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't, got my daughter or whatever. And I'm like, well, they can come, it's okay. They were like, hell no, this is my hour to get away from them. And I was like, oh, touche.
Yeah.
I understand. Now, with the Good Place, you are currently doing a community event. Mm-hmm. I want to call it event project.
Yeah, it's kind of like a project.
Yeah.
Because it's like a continuous event.
Which I'm a part of. I love it.
Yeah.
If you can give us, because not everybody knows about it, let us know what the project is and kind of what it entails.
So I've been wanting to do something for a while to kind of showcase just exactly what the good place is, aside from just like having, you know, our marketing really has truly just been trying to show our actual clients in the space, like no stock photos, no, you know, not just photos of the instructors doing the workouts, because that always makes it look so, yes, beautiful, but easy. But I wanted to like actually do something bigger than that. And we have another coach that works for us. She works all over town. A lot of people know her and love her. And she came to me with an idea. She's like, hey, I want to do a photo shoot of like real people, you know, in the community. And I was like, oh, that actually kind of like is exactly what I like. Like basically we were both kind of like vibing in the same direction and kind of wanted to like combine forces. And so we met and talked a little bit more. And I was telling her a story about a client who, she's actually not doing the project, I think, due to her schedule, but we have a really amazing client. She's done like over 300, 400 classes. And she started coming to us. Basically, she has a mother in, I think, like in a stage of dementia or some kind of mental degradation that she can't move or get around that well. And my client needs to, she's like, I'm hurting my back picking her up. So I need to be able to lift my mom. Like that was basically why I'm here. Okay. Like, let's get you strong. And this lady is so freaking strong. She was already strong. She just didn't know it.
Yeah.
But now we've strengthened her spine so that she can lift her mother and not hurt her back. And she also has teenage daughters and a crazy busy life. And she makes her time. She comes a lot, mostly really early in the morning, but sometimes she shows up at night if she can't make it. She's there on Sundays. So I was telling Jackie, my partner in this project and one of our coaches, shout out Jackie Harris, be well with Jackie, the story about my client. And she was like, I have like a list of 100 of those stories. And I'm like, me too. And they're like, those stories are so important because like this client is not the person that gets on the billboard, you know,
Mm-hmm.
she's just a regular lady doing regular lady things, you know? So we were like, let's make this more than just a photo shoot. Like, let's capture their stories. It's very similar to podcasting. You know, we just want to like interview them. So we decided to kind of put it out there, see who would even be interested. And we're going to meet 3 times in the year. So we had our first meeting this last week. So yeah, it's just last week. And the first one we just wanted to start with the interview and a photo shoot. So kind of just like, you know, a treat, but we're calling the project We See You. Like, why do you show up? You know, in whatever capacity, whether it's Pilates or in the gym or pickleball or golf or, I reached out to like my friends in the jiu-jitsu community and like a whole bunch of different like modalities of fitness because, everyone goes to that thing for a lot of different reasons. It's not necessarily just for vanity or for, you know, I want to age well. I mean, those are all good bonuses, but mental health is the biggest one we get, you know, and I'm sure you hear the same things. So we just wanted to spotlight the community and try to like get people from different, not just from the Pilates studio. So that was the aim of the project. So we did some really fun photos and interviews. We're going to be putting that together and starting to share that with the community. And the cool thing is the people who signed up, including you, are coming from other industries and businesses as well. One lady owns a dance studio. You obviously are a personal trainer. One lady owns a tattoo shop. So like the group was very diverse. And so the reach within all of us like is exponential. And the goal is just to say, you know, maybe you inspired someone who looks like you or sounds like you or has a struggle like you to like find their thing and get moving again or, you know, keep moving. Maybe it's a keep moving thing. And then we're going to kind of keep growing that. So our next meeting, we're going to obviously do another photo shoot, but we want to like continue, like what has the last couple of months of your lives looked like? Did you need to pivot? Because for some people it's like, oh, my job changed. So I can't go to pickleball anymore. Now I started going to my kids' dojo because they like run an adults class. Or maybe I'm swimming now because the pool is open and kind of just like talking the pivot. And then, you know, now that people have started to see your story, what has that inspired you? Have you inspired them? What kind of feedback have you gotten? And kind of follow you guys through the year of like this little project and just almost kind of like the way someone would look at a documentary, but not really doing it like that. Just kind of more in person and conversations.
Shit, you can make it a documentary.
I know. Well, maybe next time.
Or a
Next year.
YouTube, like a YouTube short.
Yeah, we do have an idea.
Oh,
Stay tuned.
I'll
Stay
stay on
tuned.
your business.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm nosy.
And then we want to do the one more at the end of the year and take some group shots and kind of hopefully like invite the next or the next class, if you will.
Yeah.
Because it's something I think that we should just always be doing. Share. I mean, it's what you're doing. You're sharing
Yeah.
stories. Storytelling is important.
It's powerful. It's needed, not only for the viewers, but also for the person telling.
Yeah.
For myself, I can say when I got my very first podcast, oh man, I need to watch it again. I can only imagine how nervous I was. It was here. But it felt so good after telling the
your
story. Like I've told people here and there, but just telling it. And then when you share it and you see it relates to people, it like pumped me up to, okay,
Yeah.
I need to tell more.
Yeah.
And again, even the same story, because everybody's not going to catch it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the more I told it, the more it unlocked in my brain of other memories.
Yeah.
Good and
it's like
bad,
therapy.
but
yeah.
it was like, oh, damn that. But then also reminds you of the stuff you've overcame.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds you of who you were.
Writing this bio for you was like, oh, yeah.
It reminds you,
Mm-hmm.
like because we can forget because so much happens. Like with you, for example, it went from instructor, opening, crazy business. You still got to show up as a wife, and then boom, second studio. Now you have to worry about more employees, and I have to, so it's
Mm-hmm.
quickly to forget the journey that got us there, and also
Yeah.
the things we overcome. And I think it's beautiful that you are doing this project because, like you said, it is similar to like a podcast type thing. And I do love that I didn't know who or what to expect. I was expecting all fitness people,
Mm-hmm.
all instructors, whatever. But then meeting Sabina, the tattoo artist, meeting an actual instructor, Gibson,
Mm-hmm.
meeting I want to say it's Ariel or Astrid,
Oh, Astrid,
an
accountant.
accountant.
Mm-hmm.
I had some questions for her about me and my
Yeah.
accountant stuff.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't have selected a better. I mean, obviously there were some people I wished would have done it. That like the person whose story I kind of just told you.
Yeah.
I think it's probably her time limitations, but the group that signed up was like this perfect dissection of the community that we like.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been. It's not like we needed. Oh, we've got like 3 instructors. It was just like this perfect group, and
Yeah.
everyone was so diverse and also quite a few community leaders in their own
Mhm.
niches. So I think for the very first one, the impact will be great because once we all start sharing the edits, once Cage comes back to us with that, shout out Cage from Discage Media. But I think, tattoos and accounting and a dance studio, and they do dance classes for adults, which I just freaking love. Like that's something that no one does anymore. A couple other small businesses. Oh, Whitney runs pet grooming. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I think it's very cool. It was
It's
cool to
really
experience, and then obviously just meet those people and hear. Well, got to hear some of their stories, but once it all comes out, to hear it
Yeah.
all.
There's some really
And one thing you said during the meeting I thought was very impactful was something along the lines of. I'm just trying to remember how exactly what you said, but you said something along the lines of like showing up authentic, especially in the movement space or fitness space, however you want to call it, and how like, sometimes I might post a picture that's not super edited or super this, but it's super me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so powerful because when it comes to the fitness space, whatever it is, there can be this idea facade of what you see on social media
Mm-hmm.
of how it should look.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier with Pilates, you had your own assumption already.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I first went to Orange Theory, I had my own assumption already.
Yeah.
You think of a trainer, you might have your own assumption how trainers can be. Or yoga, it's only for namaste yogi people that go to Thailand.
Super bendy people.
Yeah, and it's not. And I think you having this project and you just even have that mindset of showing up authentic is fucking beautiful. And I want more people who are in fitness to do that.
Yeah.
I do think sometimes people who are in fitness can shy back in a way because they feel like they don't fit a certain mold of what an instructor should look like or a personal trainer.
We get afraid of that, like, because you're gonna get it, the trolls, like, or
100%.
whatever, and well, there's no way that person like can do whatever or is fit or blah blah blah, and it's just so because of that we resist, but that's kind of that was 100% Jackie and I's inspiration is just like we want to show who is really showing up. And it's not always, an influencer or fitness model,
Those people don't even show up half the
Well,
influencers, man.
and there's nothing wrong with that. Like they show up too, but they post enough for all of us. So we have already seen that. So like we just want to show it's just that representation. I can't remember exactly the quote, but like if you see yourself in someone, you're more likely to try something.
Oh yeah, I believe
If
that.
you see like, it's like the black Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Like little girls were able to see themselves as Ariel. Like how important is that? And it's not the same thing, but it is. Like if you see
Yeah.
somebody who's not as fit as you normally see in the like brochure, like, oh, she does Pilates or he does Pilates or he goes to, he's a personal trainer. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess I could try it.
100%. That's how I felt about a lot of things I decided to get into. Like for me, when I was in my lowest moment of life, I started listening to Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker, and he would tell his story and talk about stuff like being homeless, trash cans, not having a dad around, all these things. But now he's this powerful speaker. Took 4 years, or I think he said 12 years to get a 4-year degree, all these things. And I'm like, I really thought to myself, fuck, I can do it, period. He did it. I know I can do it. And it helped me get out of my lowest point. And still to this day, have that same belief in myself that is possible.
Yeah. And some people need the visual or the story or whatever it is because they can't remove that limitation themselves. But sometimes just seeing it just changes everything for them.
Real quick, back to the imposter syndrome point. One thing that I've heard somebody say, it was so beautiful, and I think it can help people when they come through imposter syndrome, when you're diving into a field of work or business that's out there. You're not the first Pilates studio. You won't be the last. I'm not the only trainer. But back to Eric Thomas, he said it one time as a speaker. He said, I got to continue to do this because there's people out there that Tony Robbins can't reach. There's certain people that Jim Rohn, Les Brown can't reach. So I got to do this for them. And it hit home because I'm like, 100%. I've known of those other speakers, but for whatever reason, Eric Thomas's delivery and story hit me to make me feel good.
Yeah.
So when I go into becoming a speaker or a fitness coach, or you opening your studio, there are certain women and men those other studios can't reach, but the good place will.
Yeah. Or hopefully these stories will inspire someone to like walk into a gym or walk into a YMCA or whatever, or just start walking. I mean, that's the thing. Like we're not trying to promote a modality. We're just trying to promote like wellness and wellness community and, just what's working for you. That's what's going to work for you.
So it is Women's History Month and you're making history, baby. I told you that. I'll say it again. I think it's amazing because it ain't easy.
It's not.
It's not. It's hard every day. Like you mentioned, you're not only on one studio, but you're on two. And I'll be honest with you, it's going to get harder.
Yeah, I know.
But that's part of the journey. That's what makes it beautiful. And I'm sure it's so rewarding when you get the feedback. You see how much people love coming to your studio, how much people love being around your crew. If there was one woman you can have a conversation with about resilience, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, so many. Resilience, I feel like any woman who was like born before 1975.
Why is that?
Because not always been easy for women in this world. It still isn't. It's really hard sometimes, but I think all women are strong and all women have a story. And that is one thing that has been really cool and super rewarding about this business is I hadn't been around a lot of women in the past couple of decades since I did hair because the consulting world is a lot of men, but women are just amazing, incredible, and they can do so much with so much against them at some, not always, but in certain situations, we're seen only as certain things. And so I'm just inspired all the time. I was on my way here, I was listening to a podcast of two women who were just doing so much and got off a call and a Zoom earlier with other women doing so many amazing things. So it's really cool to see, like you said, we're not going to be the first Pilates studio. We're not going to be the last. And I hope I hope that we're all just going to keep pushing and growing because there's someone for everyone and there's something for everyone. and there's room for everyone at this table, at any table.
Yeah.
But yeah, the evolution of women is pretty amazing.
No, I agree. I think women are beautiful people, beautiful human beings. We need them. That's why I love training my women clients. It's just great to see how they can keep showing up. And like you said, there are a lot of things that do go against them at times. It can be, and then you have to wear, depending where you're at in life, you wear different hats every day. You're a wife, you're a mother, you're this, you're that. And it's just inspiring to me, especially the clients I train. I know who are real busy. It's like, okay, let's go. Like I love seeing them work on themselves so hard. And yeah, I think the women make the world go round.
They do.
Everything. A lot of things men do are for a woman at some point in time, like to attract them, to keep them happy or anything. They make the world go around, man. And I do love that as Women's History Month, and you're uplifting women in your community and men also.
Yeah.
You want men to come into your Pilates classes. I've seen you host events for men to explore and try.
We just want everybody to move.
Feel better.
Yeah.
That's it. Feel better. You feel better physically, you'll start to feel better mentally.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up here, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is 3 times? I'm just kidding.
No math.
Yeah.
No math.
What's a quote you live by and why?
So I was thinking about this. It's not a quote per se.
Okay.
But the past few years, and it will tie to whenever this movie came out, I've really been living by this mantra, and anytime life gets hard, this is like what I boil it down to. And don't laugh, but I actually had to look it up because I wasn't sure, but it's from Frozen 2. Okay. Which I guess I've seen maybe once, but there's even a song. I tried to listen to it today, and the song is beautiful, but I couldn't have placed it. But she says, it's a dark situation, and she just says, we just need to do the next right thing. One thing, the next right thing. Sometimes like when we're in this space and we're overwhelmed, it's like you want to calculate this huge plan. How do I get out of it? Well, we got to do this. We got to do this. And none of that matters. You just have to take the next right thing. So if the next right thing is just like getting up, or like, putting more water in your cup, or making that phone call, or, getting that URL, one step, one next thing. And then you can worry about the next one. That's all you can do. So
I love that. I don't think it's, it's great. There's a movie I love that I watched to this day. One of my favorite movies of all time is called The Temptations.
Is it about the Temptations?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
it's like one of the main ones that came out. And in the movie, there's a scene where I think they didn't get the deal or something like that, right? They get home, they're all sad and stuff. And the lead singer, he says to them, he's like, look, man, at this point, the only way we can go is up.
Yeah.
And I be thinking about that sometimes. Things get hard. I'm like, what did Otis Williams say to his crew? Only way is up from here.
Yeah.
Well, Ashley, running 2 studios, running a credible community things you're doing here. I appreciate you making your time, coming down here, sitting with me, chatting, sharing a bit of your journey, your story. Man, you got me fired up.
Good.
You need
Thank you for having
I
me.
can't wait to see if you write a book or something. I'll make sure to tag your Instagram and the studio's Instagram and the description of this bio on YouTube and Spotify. And thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I know what it feels like to be stuck in a cycle, to feel like you're alone, to feel like you can't break free. Healing, trauma, sobriety, movement. These are all things that are going to be happening at my wellness workshop on Sunday, April 27th here in Las Vegas. It's also available virtually. This is not just a show up and have fun thing. It's an experience. It's a transformation. You're going to get the right tools, techniques by me and my colleague, Gabby, to help you become your true best and break free out of that cycle and gain your freedom and take back your power. Link in my bio in the description to get your ticket Sunday, April 27th. And then I'm going to leave you with a word. The life you want is on the other side of fear. Fear is going to make you feel like you're not good enough, like it's too hard. You don't want that. Outside of your comfort zone is where you grow. So face it head on like the buffalo No, the bison. The bison faces the storm head on. So continue to be a bison, face your fears, go through it, not around it. 2 words, keep growing.